A blacklist, huh? Well, not much you can do. It's just the way how the world works, or certain nations, or certain states, or just even in a home. Depends, I guess, but what can you do? That's just the way how it is. This is episode 21 of Sparda's World Podcast. Sparda 3G here, talking about this blacklist that just happened to come from current news. I think that came out from yesterday or even today in the morning. It has to deal with China. As you may know, China has officially blacklisted 36 anime and manga, or I believe it's 38 in total actually. So yes, by that it means that they are blacklisting these shows or even the manga from distribution in China, online or in print. So yeah, they're pretty much banned from distribution. Not that sucks for the guys who in China wants to see the series being printed or online, no less, in a Chinese form. But that's just how it is now. They just recently announced the Chinese Ministry of Culture. They announced it on Monday, but it's just reported today for us to witness this news to see how which series has been blacklisted. So the title is, the titles are Terror and Reasoness. Sorry if I say it wrong. Reasoness, Blood Sea, High School of the Dead, Ergo Proxy, Parasite, The Skull Man, Another, Inferno Cop, Afro Samurai, Tokyo Ghoul Rude, Sword Art Online 2, Tokyo ESP, Tokyo Ravens, Devil May Cry, Rin, Daughters of Minocene, sorry if I can't pronounce that, The Testament of Sister New Devil, Attack on Titan, Corpse Party, Strike the Blood, Death Note, Dead Man Wonderland, Data Live 2, Psychopaths, Devilman Lady, School Days, Those Who Hunt Elves, Elfin Lied, High School DxD, Samurai Bride, So I Can Play H, Girls Bravo second season, Kenokon, I really cannot pronounce this one, Asiftika of Rogue Hero, Sakura Diaries, Black Butler, Claymore, and Dance in a Vampire Bond. So those are the lists. That's the list for you. This is the one that are blacklisted, and some of them are understandable in terms of it's too violent for kids, fun for the adults. I gotta say, some of them made me laugh a little, but I guess I could understand if you know the content itself. Mainly the School Days one, because it is funny to see that enlisted. Probably because, the 12th episode, the final episode, the whole nice boat there. It's just kind of funny to see it enlisted. But again, fine, understandable in terms of being blacklisted. Just seems so funny. But like, really? This is blacklisted? Why? And then you showed that person that last episode. Fair enough. It's like that. I guess that's how it is. So what can you do? There's some other series that just seem like kind of weird, as so harmless, but they blacklisted. But they have different reasons, of course. So what can you do? That's the story. That's the story that I broke down today. It's funny how one friend of mine suggested, "What about Baku no Pico?" So maybe they don't know about that series or OVA. Maybe they don't know about it. Maybe when they learn about it, they probably blacklist that too. Who knows? To be honest, I haven't seen that series, but I am fully aware of the concept, the backstory of it, the premise and whatnot. So yeah, I don't even know if I should see it myself to see, but whatever. Those are the anime manga that has been blacklisted, and a lot of them are good. Some of them are whatevers. In terms of quality, I mean, there's a lot of them that's pretty popular. It's funny how there's just some of them are only second seasons, like Tokyo Ghoul Rude. Why not just do it for the Tokyo Ghoul in general? Because it's pretty violent. Sword Art Online 2. Why just 2? Or second season for certain seasons. So whatever. But point is, they're not gonna be it's not gonna be distributed in China online or print. So there you go. That's really all the news today or this week for now. Not much to say. I guess everybody's being prepared for E3. I know it's just a gaming thing, and I know it's pretty much a whole different scenario. But sometimes if you play games, you watch anime, or you watch anime, you play games, and stuff like that. It's like two of both worlds and mixed in. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. Black Clover, first volume has been released past Friday, I believe, and it'd be interesting to see how much it sells, how much it sold. Would it be more than Boku no Hero Academia? Would it be behind it? Would it be a lackluster, or would it surpass the expectation? I'm actually kind of curious because they are pushing this series along with Boku no Hero Academia, and I forgot the other one, as the next so-called Holy Trinity, as fans would like to put out. But it seems like Shonen Jump Weekly people, the staff, they are well aware that they know about this Holy Trinity. So maybe they try to push this one as well. But we'll see what happens. So that's all the news I can say. I also posted the Tokyo Ghoul anime overall thoughts in my YouTube page, so feel free to check it out. It is pretty long because it's covering both seasons, and I also talk about the overall thoughts entirely. So feel free to check it out, and do give me your thoughts in the comment page. This was an interesting chapter. I assumed that we was going to end in this arc, or maybe the next arc. Probably the next arc will be actually true. But for now, it seems like we have more to expand. And this time, the series decided to expand its world content. And I know in some way it feels like it come out of nowhere. Though granted, it did hint here and there about the whole continents in different area. So, to me, this is okay. I kind of wish it kind of built up a little bit more. But I will say this. Mashima did a decent job to explain why the other continent has not been explored until now, until this recent moment. Now, a lot of things has been falling to pieces, and a lot of them does make sense in the end. I would give him that, and I'll give it credit to make it sense in the end, because a lot of people would like to overwrite the history of the series, would like to erase the history and rewrite it itself. So it's like this one wasn't about rewriting the story. It expands its lore of fairy tale. So now we're going to go into another continent. So this is actually expands more of the entire universe of the fairy tale, and not only that, but it could also bring a lot of more interesting aspect of the series. So before we get to the main event with Zeroth and Arcanologia, with the entire this whole three-way war between these three, and it seems like this is an appropriate way to do it. It doesn't make it. It doesn't feel like it's trying to stall things. I mean, you can't ignore it, but at the same time, like I said, it doesn't really feel that much out of place. It kind of came out of nowhere because it didn't get hinted that much. Either way, I still think this is actually appropriately done nicely in order to make sense out of everything that has happened from the past series, and why the next continent has to be explored, and why this is being dealt with right now. We came back from Mess, actually it's Mess. It used to be Dorenbolt, but now it's Mess because now he's officially a part of the Fairy Tail member. He's pretty much having Urza to see the ultimate secret of the Fairy Tail Guild, and that is the Lumen Historia, the one where Mavis is inside this big crystal, which has not explained, but it's sure has been building up a lot to make it seem like it's the most destruction force of all, or the greatest treasure, the grandest treasure. And pretty much they lining up this item, they lining up this thing to be one of the last, actually not one of them, it is the last remaining source for the Ishgard continent, in order to not let the other one to override them. And yeah, again, they didn't explain what this whole Lumen Historia is about or what it does, but it really builds up a lot to make it seem like a crazy ultimate weapon that no one cannot touch, and they all have to be fear of. And let alone the fact they do want to steal this item, so it seems highly valuable, and I don't think it's just for money source or anything like that. And I'm pretty much we get the idea that this arc is going to have more cover on this whole Lumen Historia. And we have the main characters who wanted to eavesdrop things. Yeah, because it's the main characters only exclusive. So only main character cares about these important information. So we have Natsu, Lucy, Wendy, Gray, and the two cats, because why not? And they pretty much interfere. I mean, everybody remember the whole Lumen Historia until they get the mind erased, because oops, I should never do that. I was too desperate with Totorus. But yeah, anyway. So these guys come and invade because they were too noisy for their own good. Let alone the fact they are main characters, but hey, you gotta go somewhere. Plus, it does lead to the whole mess flashback. So I guess that was appropriately needed. They all brag about like what's going on, what is that first doing in that crystal and everything. So this is where Mess pretty much transfer his memories and share everybody else to see the entire story without having to say it out loud, but instead they have the memory of their own. They're sharing memory, so they know every in visuals and everything else, dialogues, words to words between Mess and Makarov. Makarov, pretty much Mess was always a Fairy Tail member, and Makarov is the one that sent Mess into a mission that has to go inside the console and get some information regarding the Western continent, which pretty much, again, I'll get to that very soon. So, Mess think it's like a stealing thing, but it's not really like a stealing. It's more like gather info, get in some source, get some in-depth detail what's going on there. Because Ishgard has very, of course, we've been exploring Ishgard for the past, every season, the whole seasons actually. So, we only go to countries in the series, and we never really explore outside the continent. Now, we only got some of the, not really information, but we got tidbits about the other continent from certain characters here and there. Mainly one of the Saints. I remember he was saying like how I'm so powerful, but I'm nowhere near to compare to the outside the continents and even outside the countries or something like that. That gives you the idea, whatever it is outside the continent could be way more dangerous than this Ishgard. Because Ishgard seems very heavily guarded, heavily placed, and, it seems like, I try not to compare the words to work, so let's not get too deep, but you could think as Ishgard as a United States of America, the way how the media portray, how the media portrays like the land of freezing and stuff like that. So I guess you could say Ishgard is something like that, and perhaps the other continent is more dangerous, or maybe it might be this case of wanting to overtake the lands, kind of like how the war would have been. But anyway, when we get back to the Makarov, he wanted to Mess to go into undercover to get the information because he wants to do this to protect the guild, which Mess doesn't understand what exactly so troublesome about this other continent. And then, we get a lot of time traveling in this flashback, showing a different case. First one, we get to where Mess was assigned to the mission. Then later on, he's like, he's trying to get the idea. He's trying to understand what's the situation. He still haven't got any. And then he gets to the part where he was like, fairy tale is becoming known because Natsu went out of control. So it's like it actually show you every timeline when the event occurs that has to do with the consoles. Because I remember the whole Natsu not being so loud. That was the part where Urza was there for his little trial or something like that, and then that's where Natsu shows up. That's where Mess shows up, like telling him, can you calm him down or something? So, I actually like how they explore every aspect that console and the fairy tale has to come intertwine one to one. And then we have the one where Mess went to the whole Tenru Island, the whole that S rank mission. If you remember, the first time we introduced with Mess, and it's funny how he figured out, hey, I want to go there. I got a great idea. I should overwrite Markonov's memory, thinking I was always there and stuff like that. Oh, I'm curious. I want to go to there. Before they went to the continued flashback, we see Natsu and Gray's like, hey, it's like, come on, you seem like an evil guy right there. Then another flashback when 7 years has passed, Mess is so happy to see him, which is good because we didn't get to see the fully interaction with Mess and the idea that the fairy tale has finally returned, because it was so close to him. So here we actually get to see his reaction. So it was nice to see that moment. And then we got the part where Makoto tell everybody to disband, and this is the reason why he disbanded. Pretty much ever since the console and the weapons they behold, the weapons they used to have are now gone. The only one remains is Luma Historia, and because of that, the world will spread, or rather, the continent will spread. The idea that they don't that Ishgard or Ishgard, the continent, or Flory, they're going to the world would know that they don't have that much weapon anymore. They don't have anything to tell you, leave us alone. They don't have anything like that. So, because of the weapons are lacking, that means that they could actually think about going in there. It's like if you find out that they don't have no more weapons, or if you find out if their country or whatever are powerless or vulnerable, then the other side would decide to strike hard, because that's where the biggest weakness, that's where the weakness comes in. And when you find the weakness, when you explore that weakness, you're going to get hit hard, and you're going to get hit unexpected. So pretty much Makarov explained that the reason why he wanted him to get the dirt on the Western continent is because these guys are no joke. These guys are so from what Makarov was saying, it seems like they're more brutal. They're more dangerous, very, very dangerous. And with the explanation of why they're so dangerous, it makes more sense. So pretty much Lumen Historia is the only weapon. Face was dead. Face got destroyed. Ethereon is taken out. Console is out, and I'm not even sure I think they recover, right? Either way, the point is, it's like a lot of things just keep messing up, so they're becoming more vulnerable. And the continent they're talking about is Arbalest. So Arbalest is a continent that actually trying to invade Ishgard long time ago. I think it was like 10 years ago, if I remember. If I remember the chapter set. So it was like 10 years ago they tried to invade. They tried to even get Lumen Historia from the south. So, they didn't really fail. It's more like they were outnumbered because of the console. But now they don't have that weapon. Let alone the console has been really falling down. It seems like now they know that Arbalest is gonna think they're weak now. We should attack them right on. So basically, Makarov decided to go decided to go to Arbalest and use her Lumen Historia to prevent them from invading, because the thing is, the Ishgard has 500 guilds according to Makarov, and that includes Fairy Tail. The other continent, however, has 730 of them, and that includes the Dark Guilds. But what makes it much worse is that they combine together and form a gigantic kingdom. And is a kingdom that's called Arbalest. So it's a military base, no less even. In other words, they're freaking screwed. So yeah, it sounds completely dangerous. The fact they all combine every guild known to man into one fortress is unbelievable. And Ishgard, nobody is really all together. Though it does make it very highly potential to have a world versus world. I'm using the MMO analogy, but this whole world versus world can be really good if Mashima knows how to execute it. So it's up to him to make it executed well. I don't know if that's the case, but I do hope that is, because I can't see Fairy Tail alone taking them out. I don't mind with the Tartarus because they did have some health. They used every guild known to man. They did borrow help from Sting and Rogue from the other guild. So with this one, I think they all need to work together. And honestly, if they do that, it will make it such a fun, entertaining arc. And I do think it would be a lot meaningful as well, especially with Lumen Historia, who has Mavis inside. Will contain Mavis in there. It's a lot of aspect to be there's a lot of aspect to unfold, and I'm really hoping Mashima does this well. Tamakura, he ends up doing this whole by himself. He ends up disbanding so he could take the fall, and he would be the one to sacrifice, which is nice of him to do. It's gonna be sad if he doesn't make it out alive, but we'll see. First time, with the whole Laxus taking over the fairy festival, he almost sounded like he was gonna die. He did it. Then when Makarov was going against Arcanuria, with that dragon back in Tenru Island, he sounded like he was about to die. He didn't die. And here, we'll see. I don't want to say third time's the charm because I don't want him to die. It's sad if he does, but I don't think so. But we'll see, because it kind of has that some form of way of setup, especially with Urza being the seven guild master now. So we'll see what happens. I thought this was an interesting chapter because it covers a lot of things from the past and makes sense out of it. Regardless, it did came out of nowhere a little bit, and I kind of wish it did have some build up. I thought it did a decent job to make it seem like it all makes sense and why the other continent is finally being explored. Now, I do hope we do go to that continent and actually see the realm of the other side of the universe, because I don't want to be like a series that says they come from this continent, we don't get to explore it because I actually wanted to see the world, so I actually want to see how it works, how it functions. It seems very different from Ishgard, of course. So I'm hoping the series. I'm hoping Mashima take the series to a new route, and hopefully it makes it very exciting. A very exciting arc to behold. The Gaiden is over, and now we're back to the actual series itself. And this was a good chapter. It was a good chapter to come back after 2 weeks of seeing the Diane Gaiden. And while it was good, I would like to see what's going to happen next. But it is a good way to use the Gaiden before this moment, because it does build up the intention and the idea of why is that Diane is going to that direction, and how her character is now, since her memories has been erased and a lot of things has become a rookie state rather than a very experienced state of Diane. Not only that, it also brings the questions about the very end of the chapter, which I don't know how this is going to be dealt with. I don't know if this is a good idea. It seems kind of fast, but we'll see how the explanation goes, because it does bring a lot of questions if that person really is what we think it is. So we go back from this current timeline, and of course we have the 7 deadly sins with Elizabeth going after Diane before she gets herself in trouble with these 10 commandments. And pretty much they had to travel by foot because because Merlin, well, she is limited now since she's in that little weapon of hers, that little ball, and she really cannot use that much strength. And she tried to preserve her magical energy, because if she uses them all, of course she will be out of it, and it's best to not to use the teleportation, which makes sense to me, because otherwise a lot of people would have been saying, why they didn't teleport? But they coming down with the explanation, which makes sense to more or less. And of course they had to get ready for the Ten Commandments. This didn't even go for their training, their power up. They didn't even go for that. Instead, they had to hastily go over the location where Diane is ended up going. So yeah, I do think we'll get the training, but I do think we will get the training, because it depends on how the situation unfolds with Diane. It seems like perhaps what's happening at the very end of the chapter, it does seems like that's where her power up is going to come from. But we'll see. Galen is back. He's just chilling in this area, telling them that yep, he killed all of them. He killed Melodus, and everything is all done. And people were questioning if he speaks the truth, and he does speak the truth. It's just that his memory has been alternated to think he killed them, so it's not really his fault or anything. It's understandable why he think this way without realizing they are alive in fact. And then pretty much Galen's gonna do his thing again, because that's how he is. He doesn't stick around that long. He likes to explore and likes to kill things, so that's how he rolls. Now we finally get Diane again, and we have the little memory flashback from Matrona last final words to Diane about not pitying yourself or anything like that before she will show her weakness. And because if you show her weakness, everyone she'll end up losing in a triumphant defeat or a kill, and everyone else will get killed. So coming back from the guidance, it all makes sense why she's in this current state. And then unfortunately for her, Galen shows up asking why you're still alive, which is scary. As that it's nicely displayed here to show why the situation they're being placed right now, such as Galen meeting up Diane, makes it such a terrifying feat to witness, because we all witnessed the entire Galen just utterly wrecked everybody in that kingdom, let alone the seven deadly sin. Even though there's only like 3 of them, it's still a huge feat to display. So the way how he's using the whole giant big panel of him asking that question, it gives you that vibe like, is she gonna live or she's gonna die, or she's really gonna get destroyed? So it's nothing but good. It's nothing but bad news in this case. So unfortunately, Diane still has a mindset of being like a rookie, to the point that she just runs away, because that's the only thing she can do right now. Is the vibe she's getting just seems heavily scary. So again, this whole Ten Commandments getting pulled over as a real threat is a good way to how to do it, especially with this case that even though she already met them and she got utterly defeated, the fact that she has her mind reset again, it gives you a different perspective of an impression of what it's to feel like to be threatened by the Ten Commandments. So it's actually nice to have how it's been demonstrated here. Not only that, we get the other member coming in the battlefield. I believe his name is Monspetty. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but hopefully that's how you say it. So now it is not only just Galen, it's this guy as well. So it only makes a really, really scary situation for her. And Galen continues to ask, why are you still alive? How the hell is this possible? And, Diane, supposedly, she's speaking the truth from her mindset. So it's not about, and the curse didn't work. The whole, if you tell a lie to Galen, you'll be turned to stone. So it seems like we get the idea that the whole process of telling the truth is not really stated by the facts, by like the gods, like in the world. It's more like the mind, if it's saying the truth. It's like beating the system of a lie detection. Like if you could tell a perfect lie, you will not get caught. So Diane obviously has the mental state of not knowing what's going on or anything, or don't even remember him, and yet the truth didn't work. So I guess you could say that could be one weakness to do it, but you gotta be a perfect liar. It seems hard, but hopefully a lot of people will know about this in the Seven Deadly Sins or anyone else, so that way they could actually bypass him and trick him easy. So, maybe that could be something for the sake of a battle, like a story battle. I don't know. It would be a good idea to implement this idea that people has to be a perfect liar in order to overcome Galen. Try to trick him, make him like, okay, that's cool, because you told me the truth, and then all of a sudden he just did a big mistake and it leads to his defeat, something like that. I'm not sure. I know maybe some people might think it's a bad idea, but I think it's a good idea. It makes the story more sense. It makes the character more sense. But we'll see in that time, because you never know. Maybe it's just one time only, and they would just drop it completely, and it's something to be missed. But oh well, that's something like that. So Diane is trying to fight back, and again, Galen is just one scary bastard to the fact that he just only hold on that hammer. And he's like, really? You're not telling me the answer? Can you tell me why are you still alive? You're supposed to be a corpse right now. And of course, Galen just struck down Diane badly, and then the other person was about to do his thing until somebody come to rescue. And at first I thought it was Diane doing her thing, but then you see another arm while Diane is in the ground. So you see another arm doing attacks like Breaking Wave. And this art display of utter destruction on the Ten Commandments is really nice to see. Seeing the whole pebbles, just whole entire rocks just flying up in the air and just hitting him every part, and he had to defend himself from all those rocks. It's such a huge crazy battle. And then you have the entire rocks floating, and Galen has no idea what's going on. Then you just see a prison clutch. And it just ordered them all form into a rock. You see his weapon is sticking out. But yeah, at least he got trapped. It was a surprise attack. I can't say all that shows you that that person is stronger than 10 Commandments, let alone two of them. I don't think that really displays it. I think it's a good sneak attack that makes them vulnerable for a moment. And for what it is, it does prison them for a minute. So maybe what's gonna happen next? They probably have to leave before these two get back on their feet and they're about to strike hard. But we'll see. But either way, it is impressive to actually attack them where it hurts, and it actually gets them in their off guard, and they actually damage them. So that's a huge feat, because you remember in the past fight, I don't think they actually scratch him at all. They just get really wrecked. Anyway. The one that saved her, Diane, is none other than Matrona. Huh. That was quick. So, the interesting thing is this. It probably is her. But if it is her, what happened? Why is she alive? Why she didn't protest the whole jury thing with the whole trial with the whole trial with Diane has to put up to in order to she just immediately defeat by having the Holy Knights make bullcrap lies. He poisoned Matrona and he attacked the people who hired her, stuff like that. So I don't know exactly why she's alive. I don't know. It's kind of too quick from the Gaiden. I mean, at least the Gaiden helps to understand who is she instead of like, oh, okay, she's back. Oh, cool, that's her. But the Gaiden makes us think, huh? Wait a minute, So I give him credit for that. But still, I don't know why she is alive. But it is interesting to note that her gear, her looks, has the gears of not in the past, not warriors. It's more like human life, more like just a normal person dress. In this series, of course. But my point is, it's not like those barbarian look, those warriors, mercenary in a caveman style looks. It's more look like the current generation look, which is interesting to know. But I don't. But maybe it's not her. Maybe it's her. Well, she sure looked like her, so it got to be her, right? We'll see in the next chapter. But it does make it interesting cliffhanger to give us the idea why exactly she's here. I mean, we don't have that much trail to to gather up in order to understand why she's alive. So I guess you could say we gotta rely on the manga development for the next chapter. So we'll see what happens. I hope it makes sense. I hope it's okay. Not so much of an ass pull at a random spite. Maybe it still is, but it's not that. And it didn't last too long, so it happened so short. So it's always susceptible at best, or just at least acceptable. We'll see how they explain. Overall, I thought it was a good chapter. It's coming back from the Gaiden. We have a nice action set. The whole intimidation of the Ten Commandments continue to rise, which is good because these Ten Commandments needs to look very threatening, and we haven't really got that in this series until now because the Holy Knights while they were impressive and threatening in certain cases, they weren't like threatening to the 7 deadly sins, but in here they really, really are. Let alone the fact that the entire kingdom themselves, the whole Britannia. So, it's good to just keep putting them over. And, with the whole cliffhanger makes you wonder, is that person really that person? And if so, what's the explanation behind this? So, I'm good with this. And hopefully this is the case of where Diane will get her power up from. But we'll see what happens because we still have the other 7 deadly sins heading to that area. So, a lot of things to look forward. This isn't chapter 32, but rather chapter 31.5. It seems like he doesn't believe that another chapter means it needs a conclusion. It doesn't mean that. Maybe he's not like that. In fact, maybe he's more about having a conclusion for chapter 31, as it wasn't concluded enough. I thought it was concluded enough, and I did say I waited for the aftermath, which seems to be the aftermath is this chapter, or 0.5 chapter, like something like that. Yeah, I thought it would be like a side story, but it seems very important elements of the story itself, and it does bring more characteristic. I guess the reason why they call it 0.5 is because it shows more showcasing of the characters and not more of a plot. But to me, this is a good decision coming from Ishida because it only brings more characteristics to Anima and everyone else within that group, such as the Queen Squad and the idea that Sasaki, he feels like he still wants to find that past of himself, and he's being tracked by the past, and it brings some questions from the other character as well, which it got me a little bit confused. I still don't know the answer to that. People would say he's not such a bad guy, he's actually a spy, or he is playing around with these guys. So I guess that's a little bit hard to understand. But other than that, this chapter was very nice. It was a very nice chapter, relaxation. Everybody is all happy again. Everybody's in their chillaxing mode, I guess you could say. And it's been a month after the auction raid. So, it's nice that we actually have the actual conclusion to this whole entire arc without really going to the next chapter, because it seems like Tokyo Ghoul chapter 32 is the actual beginning of a new arc, which is understandable. And 31.5 is pretty much the extension of the conclusion for the auction raid, with more display of the characteristics and the characterization of these characters. Yeah, there's a lot of characters. I've been using that term the entire sentence, but it's helpful because it not only brings some more class to these characters, but it's very enjoyable to see how much family they are to Sasaki, as well as how much Sasaki owned depth to these characters, especially with Anima, which really makes it hard to witness the day where they split up, because when Sasaki knows the truth, knows everything about Kaneki, when he helps Kaneki completely, it only asks for splitting up from him, especially when Arima was about to get ready to strike down Kaneki when he think Kaneki was fully has returned, but instead Sasaki managed to get back on his feet and act like the way he is. The only thing I will say is that Hinami was absent in this chapter, which is sad to say because that means she might be in prison instead. I hope we get to see her in the next chapter because it's kind of sad to see her that being put into somewhere else rather than being with Sasaki. I guess because she's a ghoul, which is, make no mistake, you can't do anything or wrap around that. She is a ghoul, and even though she's an innocent one, they don't know that. Only Sasaki knows about that. But again, that's just how CCG works. So what can you do? Yeah, it's been a month after the auction raid, and since Saiko is decorating the Christmas tree, Masuki is glad that there's no work and they can finally rest. Same thing with Shirazu. And Psycho finished the decorating the tree, but it's only the bottom half. This is like it looks so weird just to see everything so nicely done in the bottom half, but the top is all naked. So it's like, you should gotta do more than the top, at least a little bit in the top, please. So, you can see Sasaki being so nice, so very nice person. So mother-like to the family of his, and it's good thing that we get to see more of this kind of display of him and taking care of these the Queen Squad, because you get a lot more in the Omekis in the volumes, but you do get them in the series itself as well, but more so in the Omekis, which does help a lot. But this chapter does help much more as well. Especially we know how much they are connected and how much they are mean to each other, which is great to see. And it's a good thing they didn't skip this out to make it seem like this family is just there to be there and stuff like that. So it's again really good choice on Ishida to make this chapter make this chapter happen before we get to the next arc. So if wondering about Ure. It seems like he's still in that process, but he's not much. But it seems like ever since Mizuki understands his character, his real feeling inside, I guess you could say he's going to be around to keep pushing Ure to do more work for the family's sake, not for himself's sake. And so it seems like this is the starting ground right here, especially where he made him do errands and get the stuff to buy in order for the dinner to happen. And Ure is supposed to be training himself by himself, how he is, but he's telling him, no, you gotta do this, you gotta help, and Mitsuki actually stands up instead of just let game be belittled by him. Now it's the other way around, and Ure is like, damn it, all right, fine, I'll do it. So it's a step. So far it's a step in the right direction, especially for Ure. I'm hoping his attitude will tone down, and it seems like I wouldn't say completely toned down, but at least now he's being pushed down by others instead of let him do all the work. So it's so far we're going in the right direction, and of course the series is still young, so it's not like we're going to get the conclusion to the whole aspect. Because if you get the conclusion, there's nothing to be hold and it's not to be worried. But you get the idea that it's being the whole scenario has been developed. So it's a good sign so far. Kuraiwa and Kuramoto shows up in the party, which brings some good class to this whole scenery, especially with Kuramoto, because he's the one that brings up the rumors, which is hilarious. But we get to that soon. We see him. Luckily, Ure left before you get to meet him, so no rivalry. I'm talking about Kuraiwa, so no rivalry dispute. So luckily for him, I guess you could say. They came to the party. That's nice of them. It's good to see more characterization with the CCG people. That's not just Akira, Arima, or at the time Amon. So we get to see more of the other guys. So it's nice to see more different variation of the characteristic. And it's funny to see Kuramoto want to play games with Psycho, and Psycho's like, yay, let's play a game. So chemistry begin to change each other, leaving Shirazu not doing the help on the tree on the work. He's like, hey, what are you doing? Where are you off to? It just seems It's so lively, as you could say, which is pretty much the whole point of this chapter as well. The whole family of CCG, Queen Squad, and everyone else are very lively. And then we have Shizuya with Humby to come into the party, and I guess I'm sorry. I guess Shizuya was expecting a treat or a trick or treat. It's funny because it's Christmas, and yet he's saying in a Halloween thing. So it's a good thing they didn't make it like saying like, "Oh, it's not Halloween." Don't kill the joke. So, you can see the controller. I'm assuming that's the Wii U Pro controller. Well, who knows? So it's a very nice detail controller. I give him that, but it does look like it is the Wii U one. Anyway, then they're playing games. Supposedly Shimiguchi is supposed to show up, but he got work. Didn't think we were supposed to see him. I guess you could say this moment was made for letting you know that he tried to invite everybody or tried to invite a lot of people, but there are going to be people that says, no, I'm busy. Now, the surprising part was Anima and Akira showing up. More surprising on Anima, because, really? He's very casual like now. Which is good, though, because, the last season, the last series, let's say, was all about building up the hype of him being such a very threatening dove that nobody cannot touch. Literally, nobody can touch him. He was that godlike in his own squad, in his own team, in every aspect of CCG. He's just godlike. So in here, I guess we're going to see more of his character and more of him in depth. And ever since Sasaki was trained under him, you get the idea that we're going to see more of him, and it seems like they're growing more bound, like the father-son thing, which is good. It's a good thing. I like this characteristic, and it makes me remember about Anima, not writing anything at the will. So it made it seem like this thing is actually giving him that purpose of writing something in that will, because he has no purpose in that when he was writing that. So seems like this is giving him a purpose, and it has to do with Sasaki, but maybe not, because it seems when the time comes, it's going to be a lot of bad feud, and I don't know. It's really hard to say, but I guess I had to curse Ishida to make this bond visible and make it actually develop, which is hurting to say. So we'll see what happens in the future. Uday, I find this scene to be funny because it's something that you probably actually get from your parents or from anyone else. Where Uday went to shopping, and instead of being very descriptive, saying like you need to buy like 2 dozen of eggs and stuff like that, instead he gets like eggs. You gotta get many as you can, as long as you can carry that much. Juice, get some. And turkey, get a lot of turkey. What the hell does that even mean? I actually got that before. Not a lot of turkey, but a lot of something else. I forgot what was it, but it was like 3 years ago. I'm like, what does that even mean? I had to even call them to say, how much is a lot to you? Yeah, I know that feeling actually, but it was kind of funny to actually see. He's like, get a lot of turkey. We're like, what? What do even that means? Can you tell me what a lot considered for you? So I thought that was funny to me. So yeah, but they have a nice dinner. I really like this. They pretty much explain the whole. Well, before we get to the actual development that we might get for the next arc, I found this whole scene funny about the Arima rumor. This seems like something that you actually get in real life, especially like some made up ones, some out of over the top ones, especially like where back then we get a lot of Chuck Norris rumor, or it's just a joke itself, but this is pretty much Arima became the center of the attention when it comes to that, such as once he fought a ghoul and he defeated him with an umbrella. It's like, what? That's just over the top. And then Arima said that's not true. What's true is he went to repair his weapon, and then he see a ghoul, and there's happened to be an umbrella there. So in other words, it's true. It's like, what the hell? That is true then. Oh my god. You expect to be like, okay, somebody made that BS rumor or whatever. But instead it's like, let me correct that. It just happened I see an umbrella. It's not like I used it automatically. I just happened to see an umbrella. It just has more and more and more rumors for Arima. Again, he's the center of attention now. the nice part of this is because since it's Christmas is coming, or it is Christmas, they get presents. Yeah, Ude gets expensive earphones according to Sasaki, so that's nice of him. And then you got a game for Psycho, makes logical sense. the motorcycle one was kind of funny because it's the way how it's shown. It's like a motorcycle. Oh, model. Oh, it's like, wow, that's a very descriptive motorcycle illustration right there, Ishida. And then you have Masuki get the eye patch made out of leather, and should look cool. It will look cool in the next arc. I'm assuming he's going to wear that one, so it's gonna look cool. Looking forward to that one. Not sure you could wear a model. Not sure you could bring a video game during your mission. An earphone, so not so much either. But yeah, either way, it's nice of him that Sasaki really does this. And again, a more nice display for Sasaki to Arima with the necktie pin. And, you can see that panel of them appreciating so much. And Arima seems so lively. We're so used to him being such a very threatening person to the ghouls. And, it seems like he has no humanity in him or anything like that. Instead, we do know he has humanity. It's probably because Sasaki is really brought out to him. And it's gonna just suck when Sasaki goes on his way, being as Kaneki and being on not on his side per se. I don't know if it does happen or if it won't happen, but it just makes it more harder, and it just makes it more crucial as well as very meaningful when it comes to him going against Arima. So, the first time is all about how powerful Arima is, and it really showed. So here, it could be more meaningful. Whenever that time comes. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe they won't fight each other. But I think it does. I think it does foreshadow that greatly. And it makes it really hard for me to actually witness that moment. So the whole dinner ended. Everybody's going to sleep. Sasaki wondering about Kaneki, how to spell his name, how his name is written, and he's understanding more Kaneki. Seems that he's really a good person, being protected. He has friends, really good friends. It also connects to the fact that ghouls is not such a bad people at all. Because if Kaneki isn't, let alone Hinami isn't, then maybe they are just nice people. It's up to Kaneki to actually show him that ghouls has their own human side. It's just a different faction, that's all. Different, as you could say, race, if you want to go that thoroughly. So, hopefully he'll understand more about them. And then you got him thinking about what is that person doing. Maybe on a date, I'm not sure. And of course, this is actually referring to Toka, which I guess that would get your little heart warm. The fact that he actually thinking about Toka, even as Sasaki or Kaneki, whatever they may be, they're both the same people. So, yay! Now this part is confusing. Uta went to the Re shop and talking to Yomo about the clowns and what they planning to do. It seems like Uta. It seems like Uta is not a bad guy, or he's playing around with Yomo because Yomo asking about the clowns and what they planning to do with Kaneki-ken, and he only saying that he doesn't know. He wonders that too. He doesn't know about the boss, but is Uta really being a spy for them? I mean, I wouldn't mind, because when you look back, there's not much of a trace of him doing everything on his own whim. Like you don't see his hand getting dirty. Everybody else got their parts, when one of them killed Riza, not kill, but the whole setup for chapter 1, the whole leading towards to the tragic event, and so on. I don't know. I mean, one way or another, it would make sense for him to be actually a part of the clown, or he's only a spy. Either one, I don't really understand this one. So I guess it's hard to read for now. We'll see what happens in a later time. We'll see how he's going to really work out. But maybe he is still part of the clown. It's really hard to say. So right now, it seems so nice to see him being with them like it's the old days. So I kind of hope he is a spy, because he is interesting, regardless if he's a spy or not. But he probably isn't a spy. He is probably toying around with Yomo and the rest of the guys. But he did ask them, what do you want to do next? Wait for Kaneki, and they got caught off, and Toka comes down to say she would continue what she already decided to do. So I do not know what that means, but it seems it was nice to see her, already knowing about Sasaki as Kaneki and everything else about it. So we will see what's next. I don't know what she mean by that, but hopefully she will get involved. And when she does, I bet a lot of people would decide to vote for her to be number one best character in the series again. She lost her place, but she didn't show up that much in the series. So if her showing up again, like in a full focus arc again with her, then definitely she will come back. Then Uta was about to leaving, telling her one last thing, that Kaneki is still a special customer. I don't know what that means, like a special customer as to for him and for his Period group, or special customer as in for the Otaku people like Toka, Nishiki, Yomo, and so on. I don't know if that's the case, but again, he is hard to read, so I guess that makes it more interesting for us to understand if he's really a spy, or he is against them and he's just toying around by acting neutral with them. It's really hard to say, really hard. So I give it credit for that. Then in the morning we get the extra one last moment that seems to be foreshadowing for the next arc, or maybe it will be a build to that moment where he understands Kaneki completely. And this is where he got his mask back. He got the mask. They don't understand what's that about. It looks creepy. It looks weird. But it's an eye patch. It's a mask. It's an eye patch. And Kaneki telling Sasaki it's an eye patch. And it seems like, why is that there? What's going on? And then the next piece, which a lot of people are really wondering who is that from, is the letter that brings a book, an autograph by Ito, as you may know as Sen Takasuki. So who's the one that gave him that book? A lot of people would like to say he did. And honestly, I thought the same thing too. I think it's really him, especially if you go back to the old chapter. Kaneki got this book autograph. I think it just say only his name, Kaneki, and then Kun, and that was it. I think it was Kaneki Kun. I don't remember if that was really it, but I think that was really it. And with he got a name spelled completely. So yeah, that seems to be him. If it is him, I'll be so happy to know that he's alive. I mean, unless somebody tell him from a death wish, will. But if I die, can you give him that book in 3 years? Thank you. So I don't know, but it really makes me wonder. The eye patch coming back in full force, and this is happening as well with the whole book. It's like more and more Kaneki is really coming back in completely. And it's really nice to see how the present time of the family dealing with Sasaki as the past time dealing with Kaneki. It's really nice to see how both of them come together in this one chapter. So overall, this was a really nice chapter, as I said before, and it was a really funny chapter as well. So there's a lot of lighthearted mood in this one. There's a good atmosphere of family being bonded. They're playing games, they're eating dinner together, they're sharing gifts, they're helping each other and whatnot. I thought this was a really nice chapter, and this is 31.5, making a extension of an aftermath conclusion to the auction raid arc. So really nicely done. I'm happy to see how much is being developed for these characters, and I really can't wait for the next arc and chapter itself as well. So yeah, Ishida is really doing a good job making me interested in Tokyo Ghoul for a long time. And that's it for today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see what happens on this Friday's episode, because we have no One Piece chapter this week, so it might be a short episode unless the news happen to be a very groundbreaking news, but we'll see when it happens. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Follow me at Tumblr page. It's Sparda3g.tumblr.com. So until then, I'll see you next time for more. Take care, everyone.